Global trade war, it is here. Who blink first between world's top manufacturer and world's top consumer? U.S. have declared an economic war against China.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
Will things have to remain this way, whereby the US will be in the top and China, or they will have to level up?
I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, and you know what I'm doing too. They want to make a deal with us. We don't necessarily want to make a deal with them. We're happy the way we are, taking our $2 billion a day. But they want to make a deal with us. They did it because they're sick or they're crazy. There's something really wrong with these people. But the same people now telling me about how to deal with China are the ones who sold out America for decades to China.
The trade war, it has been opened between President Xi Jinping and Donald Trump over trades, shipping, and currency. President Trump wants to remain on top, but will the situation have to remain like this forever, or it will have to be balanced? Will Trump's strategy remain in the same way, or it will be reformed in a different shape? Donald Trump declares this trade war against the world because he believes that he's a fighter and not a quitter, because he wants all the countries around the world to bow before him.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. Cheat. It's not so good. And they cheat. They do cheat. You know, I respect Mexico. I respect Canada. But they cheat like hell.
And these tricks seem to be working so good for Donald Trump, because already some of the politicians around the world, they are coming out begging for Donald Trump to negotiate with them.
Donald Trump is tormenting us every day and night. Every week, he's tormenting us. A country like South Africa. He knows he's got what we need from him. And I don't hide it and try to behave like as if we don't need America. We need America. For South Africa to survive in the trade and global sphere. If South Africa were to collapse, the rand becomes something else. This country becomes a rubble. Me and you, we don't have two passports. We're not going to run to UK or anywhere. We are here. We will die here in the rubble. The ANC has got the responsibility to protect South Africa's interest.
Even though Donald Trump is being criticized by some members of the Congress, well, the many believe that he's the right man who knows what he's doing, because he's the one who knows how to negotiate better than anyone else.
I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, and you know what I'm doing too. That's why you vote for me. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate. Congress takes over negotiating. Sell America fast, because you're going to go busted.
Trade market. Trump have charged Beijing 104%. Beijing come back and gave them 84%. Trump's come back and hit them at 125% before he end up standing at 145%. That is something which Beijing could not accept, because they refuse to be intimidated by the Americans. Beijing come back and hit hard as well.
If they insist on pursuing a tariff war, China will respond in kind and fight till the end. Pressure, threats, or blackmail are not the right way to deal with China.
China is digging in. Americans are waking up to a whole new escalation in the global trade war. Beijing is hiking its retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods today from 84% to 125%. And for the first time since this all started, we're actually hearing from the Chinese President Xi Jinping himself. Xi's saying that his nation is, quote unquote, not afraid, and also warning, quote, there are no winners in a trade war, and going against the world will only lead to self-isolation.
The Chinese people's legitimate right to development is inalienable. China's sovereignty, security, and development interests are inviolable. We will continue to take firm and forceful measures to safeguard our legitimate rights and interests.
But here's the problem for China. Beijing knows very well that without the US market, they'll have to form another new market outside of the USA borders. And that is something which the USA, they have seen it long time and are making use of it. China, they ship a lot of things which are being sold in the US market, from the iPhones, from the cars, and different tools which are being sold in the US market. They stand as the world's first manufacturers, and the USA stand as the world's first consumer. On the other side, we are having the EU, European Union, which is being also affected by this trade war. And for the first time in the history, the EU, they are considering to work with China, who used to be their yesterday enemy.
President von der Leyen recalled the urgency for structural solutions to rebalance the bilateral trade relationship and ensure better access for European businesses, products and services to the Chinese market.
Why? Because they want to survive against the US tariff increase.
It's not solved. At this point in time, where we are is in a period of uncertainty and a period of volatility in the market. I think the big uncertainty is, of course, where those tariffs are going to land and how long that is going to take to actually play out.
The position of the investors is to want this to stop and want the tariffs to go away. The strategy, as I hear it from diplomats in Brussels, is to wait a little bit and let the market chaos soften up the Trump administration. If this keeps going, it will pile pressure on him, and the Europeans will return with further retaliation against the tariffs. The idea now is to try to negotiate, is to try to find a deal. But from everything I've heard here, Europe is fully prepared to come back with another round of retaliatory tariffs if there is no room for negotiation.
The United States' decision to impose tariffs has had and will continue to have huge implications for the world economy. These implications have been reflected in the reaction that we have seen in global markets in recent days.
But why is the Europeans wanting also to attack on Donald Trump? Of course, because this tariff of Donald Trump, it had really affected a lot of business over there in Europe. Many investors, they have withdrawn their monies and they keep their monies because they don't want to risk their money with the leadership of Donald Trump.
The biggest concern at the moment is everybody's just pausing. From an investment perspective, from a corporate perspective,
taking a breath after a crazy few days.
Exactly right. Now, when people take breaths, they don't do anything. Companies don't invest in new plants. People don't move jobs, they don't take jobs. And that is actually what's most worrying when it comes to an investment perspective. You need that certainty of where things are going to be.
Things could actually lead to a proper shooting war.
We're already in a situation where you could describe this as World War III.
Now, here comes Donald Trump, who have to stop this tax tariff around the world for 3 months. All the countries except for China, Donald Trump said because of their stubbornness, they'll have to increase the high tariff for them because they want China to come to the table.
China is the most imbalanced economy in the history of the modern world, and they are the biggest source of the U.S. trade problems. And indeed, they are problems for the rest of the world, because what we've seen is that as the U.S. announced the tariff wall last week, many of those goods have already started flooding into Europe.
So as you see it now, this trade war is China versus the rest of the world?
Well, I'm not calling it a trade war, but I'm saying that China has escalated, and President Trump responded very courageously to that, and we are going to work on a solution with our trading partners.
Based on the lack of respect China has shown to the world markets, he declared, I am hereby raising the tariff charged by the United States of America to 125%. As for the countries which he said had not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape or form, I've authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%.
So this war will continue like this for time to come until when the world will have the new currency. Talking about the new currency, I think that's where BRICS need to come in. BRICS have promised the world having a new currency. We have been saying here for most of the time that what is motivating these people, what is giving the US more power, is for the fact that they are having the US dollar as the world trade currency. The day when this US dollar will be removed from the market, you will see. For an example, look at what just happened. Trump launched this trade war against everyone around the world. Yes, it did indeed affect a lot of business, a lot of economies, a lot of activities around the world. People suffer while Donald Trump was busy celebrating on how they were winning about $2 billion a day.
We don't necessarily want to make a deal with them. We're happy the way we are, taking our $2 billion a day.
Donald Trump believes China is the biggest threat in the world. He believes that they're building a ferocious military not to defend themselves, but to spread communism and their ideology all over the world and to dominate the world's economy. You can't fight them militarily because it's nuclear Armageddon. So what Trump has decided to do is strangle China economically, beat them in the industries. He wants to diminish their power.
Trump is busy celebrating about all this, forgetting his own partners, the Europeans, who seem to be very heartbroken and disappointed in their friendship because they are not sitting and just observing everything like this, but they are actually planning for something in order for them to come back very hard on Donald Trump.
The strategy, as I hear it from diplomats in Brussels, is to wait a little bit and let the market chaos soften up the Trump administration. If this keeps going, it will pile pressure on him, and the Europeans will return with further retaliation against the tariffs. The idea now is to try to negotiate, is to try to find a deal. But from everything I've heard here, Europe is fully prepared to come back with another round of retaliatory tariffs if there is no room for negotiation.
The response that will come from all these countries, it is something which will affect Americans very badly. Proof to that, Donald Trump stopped this tariff for 3 months and called for his cabinet meeting.
We had in history, it was the biggest day in history, the markets. So we're very happy with the way the country's running.
The president made a big show of inviting cameras into the cabinet meeting, while the secretaries cooed about how well things were going.
We're getting the respect we deserve now, and I think you're going to see historic deals, one after the other.
I think it's going to work out really very well.
But while Trump's pause had quelled the markets yesterday, today he upped the ante on his trade war with China, and shares and bonds slid heavily back into the red.
Now guys, with all this being said, I have this simple question that I want to ask each one of you. For how long will the world have to continue to suffer this kind of behaviors? For how long will the world have to endure this kind of treatment from someone who have to be seated somewhere in the White House and giving the whole entire world this kind of treatment? Don't you guys think that it's about time, us as Africans, we can come together and be united? Don't you think that it's about time for us as Africans, we can come up with our own currency? Don't you think that it's about time us as Africans, we can at least start trading among ourselves so that we can stop this kind of treatment coming from Donald Trump? Don't you think that we can also stand on with our minerals as Africans and say that, okay, Trump have said this about his tariff, well, this is also our tariff when it comes to our mineral resources, when it comes to our diamonds, when it comes to our coltans or gold or name it, because the list is too long. And this all our minerals, we can come and say that from now on, this is the tariff of our minerals. Why do we have to allow these people to come and tell us the price of our own minerals, where to sell it to, and what to use that money for? Yet they're the same one who are coming and telling us on how the things have to be done around. For me, it is very pity when I get to see some of African leaders begging Donald Trump, saying that no, we are going to suffer. We need to negotiate with Donald Trump, when we have also something that we can use against Donald Trump. Dear Africans, it's about time we come up and use our brain to think on how to deal with this kind of matters with this kind of leaders. I hope this message is loud and clear. I hope you have learned something in this video. Share your thought with us in the comment section. We'll be looking forward to that. Above all, don't leave this video without you subscribing and liking this video in your numbers. We'll really do appreciate that. I believe that will be all for now. Continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.